All right. Well, I might as well take a...
I know. So I have this huge... Because I got done working out like about an hour ago.
Yeah, it's very important
You
to
know
stay
how it
hydrated.
You know how to...
What's going on,
Okay.
guys? Joey Franzo here with... Who am I with?
Katie and... Well,
Ann's here.
Katie. Yeah.
Sister Katie to me.
Katie and 100.
She's here.
Brother and sister
And
reunited over Skype.
digitally in the flesh. How are you doing?
I am doing really well.
I can tell.
Really well.
You've been doing...
Great to be on. I'm excited to chat.
Yes, yes, yes. So really quickly, for the one person that has no idea who you are. So like, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, talk a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am, I guess, well, first of all, I'm a coach. So I coach powerlifters, I coach bodybuilders, I coach general fitness people. I do in-person training here in Columbus, Ohio, as well as online training. And so majority online programming. And I am a USAPL powerlifter in the 72 kilogram class. And also a professional natural bodybuilder in the figure class. So
Damn.
it's a thing.
Nice. What are your... You want to talk about your lifts real quick? What are your best lifts, and what is your favorite lift?
So I guess I'll do, well, so in the gym I hit a 405 squat. In competition it's 396, so that's 180. Oh gosh, I can't do kilos. I don't know. Whatever. Bench 185. I have poverty bench. And then deadlift 425.
Nice.
And my favorite, my best Wilks was I think 449. At the Arnold this year, and which was in March. And I live in Columbus, Ohio, so that was awesome. Hometown meet. It was bomb, and you were there, and it was amazing.
Yeah,
it was so much fun.
Good time.
It was really fun. And then my favorite lift would have to be squat for sure.
Yep.
So
right, me too.
Yeah. It's just there's nothing like it. It's like so scary but so exhilarating at the same time, and I've just always been a natural squatter too, so it was just the best. It's my best lift, so that makes it more fun too. Obviously what you're good at you tend to like, so
Yep.
So it's been, yeah. So love squat.
Very relatable.
Yours is squat, right? Your favorite?
My best lift is my squat, and it is, I guess you could say it's my favorite. It's the lift that it's going to add the most to my total because it is my biggest, and I can do it without getting hurt, whereas deadlifts I have to be careful.
Yeah, I agree.
Although where I'm at with my deadlift is a place that I never thought I would get to just over time in terms of like finding the right amount of frequency I need to do to be able to train the lift and not get hurt.
What's your current frequency?
So I did a small video on this a while back about how I was only pulling once every other week, and the week that I wouldn't deadlift, I would do high bar squats. But as of late, especially like where I'm at, just like mentally, fixing my full screen here. It'll kind of be like an optional day. Maybe I'll high bar. Maybe I'll do like posterior chain work and more bodybuilding back stuff, or I won't do anything. I'll just take the day off. It really depends. But now I'm getting kind of close to nationals, so I will. I'm leaning more towards not taking it off and getting work in. So since we're talking about nationals, you've done how many nationals have you done, and are you doing this one?
Yeah, so I did nationals in 2015 and then nationals in 2016. So in 2014, I didn't do nationals because I was doing a bodybuilding show. around the same time. And that's when I won my natural pro card in figure, was in 2014. So I did a couple meets in 2014 and then early 2015. And then did nationals in 2015 and then did nationals last year, focused solely on powerlifting last year. Did not compete in bodybuilding. It's been since spring of 2015. And then competed at nationals last year and got 5th last year.
Which is saying a lot, actually, because it's unbelievably, like, you could miss one lift and go down, like, 4 spaces, you know what I mean? It's really close.
Really competitive, yeah. And, I mean, it was just an honor to be competing with the best girl, because somehow I made prime time, so I was able to compete with Kim and with Chelsea and Rory and then who else am I forgetting? I don't know. Now I'm like forgetting everyone.
No worries. To be honest, and for you being a dual athlete,
Laura Radecki, yeah, she's unbelievable too. So I competed then at the Arnold in early 2017 this year, and then decided to focus on bodybuilding this year. So no, I am not doing nationals this year for powerlifting. I'm actually very close to the 63 kilogram class.
That's so crazy to me because you're like not short. You're not small, and you're pretty lean.
Right.
So,
but my stage weight is like 138. So competing in powerlifting in the 63 kilogram class just isn't smart because I'm probably about 8% body fat or so. So it's not a good idea.
Yeah, like,
not a very
and also if you look at you at that weight versus the girls in your class at that weight, it's like the body fat difference is so different.
Right, because it's my stage weight. Yeah, so it's very lean for me. Whereas in the off season, I maxed out the 72 kilogram class. Like I was sitting right at like 159, 160, 162. In the off season. So I was, pushing that weight class, which is healthy, much healthier for me to do. Sure. And also recovery wise, in terms of competing, it was a lot better for my body. I can't sustain the frequency at this lower body weight. I can't sustain, nearly as much training as I was doing at a heavier body weight.
So let's get into it since we're on it. For this prep, you said, okay, I'm going to focus on bodybuilding or powerlifting last year. And now that you're kind of transitioning into more bodybuilding stuff, you're 7 weeks out, I believe.
Yes.
Like, what is your training like now compared to then?
Yeah, so my frequency went down. So for my shift in focus, so after going up to the Arnold, I just was feeling really beat up. Since I had been solely focusing on powerlifting for about 2 years, where I was just increasing frequency. My frequency for squat got up to 4 times per week. For bench, it got up to 4 times per week. So my elbows were hurting, my traps were hurting from low bar so much, and since my squat is very, it's my best lift, I was squatting, I remember at one point for prep for nationals, I was squatting over 315 4 times a week, or, with over 315 pounds on my back.
That's kind of absurd. That's really crazy, to be honest.
Yeah, it destroyed I just was feeling destroyed in my elbows and my joints, so I just really wanted to take a break and give my body a rest. And also, too, my fitness journey kind of began in more of athletics. I ran track in high school, and then it started in bodybuilding. That's really how I got my weightlifting foundation. So it's more, I guess you could say, natural to me to go back. And it's, it's something I really enjoy. So focusing more on bodybuilding was just I felt like it was just the right time, and something that I wanted to do for recovery purposes as well. So in terms of my frequency for lifts, so now my deadlift frequency, I'm actually not deadlifting from the floor currently. I'm only doing mini block pulls just because of how my leverages are. I'm pretty tall, so for me to be pulling at this low body fat percentage and this low body weight, my leverages have changed pretty significantly, and I just noticed that it's much harder on my back. So I'm pulling from just mini blocks. I'm pulling from literally like the smallest blocks you could possibly get, but it just gives me that little bit of benefit to be able to put more of the emphasis in my back as opposed to in my legs. And my legs tend to be more dominant in my physique for bodybuilding. So getting more back volume is always key for me, and actually taking some of that out of my legs, because I don't need more volume in my leg training than I already have, because for figure it's about symmetry. And so my legs tend to overpower my physique. So just making sure that I have a strong back is essential. Yeah. So I'm currently doing some sort of pull 2 times per week, doing some sort of squat 1 to 2 times per week. It really depends on the week and how my recovery is. And then, so it's usually I usually have lower body training 2 times per week, and shoulders 2 times per week, or push like chest, shoulders, and then back 2 times per week. So it's gone down in terms of frequency, but at the same time, I've added in more volume training like leg press and, leg extensions, and more isolation work like hamstring curls and glute ham raises and hip thrusts. So overall, my leg volume is actually up, even though my frequency is down, but it works better for recovery for me, because I'm able to pound, in more volume in one session as opposed to spreading it out multiple days per week. I just noticed that that's better for just sustainability overall, so I can limit it to 2 times per week. My recovery is better. I can just hammer out a session, get in a ton of volume, like on leg press, because I can, leg press 500 pounds and get in a lot of volume for my quads, and it's just better on my back because leg press is not hard on my back. And so it's changed quite a bit, but I'm still doing compound main lifts a lot, and that's how I start my training for sure. And I still am emphasizing heavy training as much as I can to keep. It's important to emphasize that even when you're in a cut, to maintain your muscle mass and maintain as much strength as possible. You can't just baby yourself just because you're in a cut, as you know.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
So you spend all this time, focusing on getting as strong as you can. So if now that you're like, so how many pounds are you down? And
20.
Down 20 pounds. So
yeah.
So it's crazy. For those that don't know, what did you weigh at the Arnold, like in the morning day? Do you remember?
150. So I cut a little bit. So I was in the off season weighing about 162 or so, 160, 162. And so then I just did a little water cut, and I got down to, I think it was like 157, because my weight class is 72 kilograms. So it's about 158.5. So I believe I weighed in at about 157 or 156, somewhere around there.
And what are you waking up now?
142.
Okay.
Or 140. Yeah. So close to 140.
So so last time we saw each other, I was 255 that morning, 254 that morning. I'm in the 220s now. There's a picture with you, me, Tina, and Paul. As Paul Ravella, and like I'm looking at my face in that picture, and I'm just like, how did I let myself get so fat?
Oh my gosh. Well, and it's just
I had the best meat of my life, but I just wanted it to die. I didn't like how I felt, and I just felt like this isn't me.
Yeah.
Well,
and you start to push it. Like I started to push. I mean, there were a couple mornings where I know I was like close to 163, 164. And I mean, that's fine. Like I liked my physique. I thought I looked great. I never felt like big or anything, but it was pushing it a little bit too far. I just especially too I love athletic training. I love, adding in some sort of running 1 to 2 times per week. And I just felt kind of sluggish. Like I just felt like slow and not athletic. So I've been adding in just some conditioning just once per week. And then the rest of my cardio is just walking just for recovery, because it helps with my recovery and it just helps me stay moving and stay warm.
And you're still just kind of walking now, right?
Yeah.
Like that's
so I do 1 day. Yeah, so I do 1 day of conditioning work per week, which is usually sprints or prowlers. And then the other days, I tend to just just walk. So it's just easy walking, no incline walking, just easy walking. And I love it because I can get outside and I did it anyways. Like in the off season, I still love walking outside and getting moving. And so it's just, yeah, super easy recovery. I'm not running like 4 times I'm not doing any of that. It's all about just getting in my training, and then just keeping my NEAT up, which so NEAT is your non-exercise activity level, and so just making sure I'm keeping that up. I'm currently working with Cliff Wilson. He's my prep coach for my nutrition, and he has been amazing. So he has just been monitoring my nutrition. It's been the smoothest prep I've ever had. He's super just I don't know how to describe it. Like our personalities really vibe well. He's very intense, which I like, but at the same time, very just caring and like attention to detail. So it's like, there's no slacking in prep. Like I'm competing as a pro. Like this is going to be my pro debut this fall in bodybuilding. And it's like, you can't slack off. Like this is like another level. Like I'm really putting everything into this, but at the same time, like he's very kind and very attention to detail and really giving me the support I need. So he's doing my nutrition, and I started working with him about, I think it's been 2 or 3 months ago. So I lost about 10 pounds on my own and then started working with him. And then Jacob Worms, he's been doing my training for almost 2 years now, and he is still doing my programming. So he writes my programming. I can't be objective with myself in terms of my programming. So I like to have just another eye too, and someone to give me just that perspective. And it's worked out really well. I like having both of them as my, kind of my team.
Yeah, I think part of what allows me to just kind of do what I'm doing is that that word, staying objective, just being as objective as possible. I'm not doing so. Like when we saw each other, we were heavier, and you lost 20 pounds, I lost 25 pounds, but I had more fat than you, and I was talking to Alberto about this. Shout out to Alberto Nunez. What's up?
Hey Alberto, I'm so pumped. I'm gonna see, I think we're gonna compete at Worlds together. So he's gonna be at Worlds, I'm pretty sure.
I know that, so like we usually go up there, which you should come with us when we go. We're just going to invite ourselves. Like, we're inviting ourselves.
No, I'm serious. Like, can we plan that?
We got to do it. But we didn't go because everybody's prepping. So I was like, let you guys prep.
Well, after.
Yeah.
After.
He's like, no, it's fine. You won't even notice. And I was like, no, it's okay, man. I want to be able to go. I want to just chill. So
let's do it this next year.
We'll definitely, when everybody's done and even Brian, I was talking to Brian Miner, and he was like, Joey, like, I'm thinking about not doing nationals because I want to, like, I don't even know if I'll get the Wilks for the Arnold, and I want to really, focus on the show. And I was like, dude, like, you can do a meet anytime, but I feel like bodybuilding preps, you remember it, like, your whole life, you're going to remember, wow, I remember that prep. I remember that show. Yeah. You admire how lean you got, and it's something that kind of, powerlifting is the same. Like I'm proud of meets that I've done, but really at this point I've been training for so long. Like I'm only getting slightly better. Whereas like in bodybuilding, it's like part of the reason why probably you're working with Cliff now. You spent all that time working on powerlifting, so you got your metabolic capacity super high. You built a ton of muscle, and your body was in a hormonal place to diet. Meaning, if you were to diet, you would get a good result. So boom, you start dieting, and everything comes off, and you can maintain some of that strength. And that's the time. But you took time, right? You said you did 2014 show, and then so you took 2 years basically, maybe a little bit more. To not like this is really important too. It's like you said you took a dedicated amount of time to do your show 2014. Then okay, that's done. Now I'm gonna focus on something else, which is bringing your food back up and getting stronger. not yo-yo dieting, not like like up and down, and then you kind of like half-ass it, and then you don't get the physique you want, and then you just waste time. So you're doing it right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, and so for women, you just, especially for hormonal reasons too, you have to get your body fat back to a level that is sustainable, where you are hormonally stable. You are not having these swing. The last thing you want to be doing in an off season is yo-yo dieting. You want to be in either a maintenance or a slight surplus, so your body can be repairing itself, and you can be putting on, especially as a natural athlete, you cannot put on much muscle. Like, I'm sorry, even if especially as an advanced, like, if you're advanced in your training, like, if you are wasting your time by yo-yo dieting, you're not going to be putting on any muscle. If anything, you're going to be losing muscle, because you're going to be crash dieting and then regaining body fat and then crash dieting, losing.
What I like to think about is, like, so when you're doing your powerlifting prep and the whole time you're in a surplus or slight surplus, think of it like working, and you're saving up money. Right. And then once you start dieting, you can't work. Pretend like you can't work anymore, right? So now you have all this money, you're spending. So let's say you spend half your bank account, but then you binge for like a week. Now, your bank is small, but you still have more to go. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're screwed. Like, you end up ruining all that work.
And also, too, it's not just about your physique. It's also about being healthy.
Yeah,
and like, as a female, like, getting your period back and like being hormonally stable, like, it's very important, and not having to do a ton of cardio to maintain your weight, and just making sure that you're in a healthy place. I mean, cardio is fine in the off season. I still did a little bit of cardio, but just making sure, because cardio is healthy, in moderation, but just making sure that you are just healthy too, because I think a lot of times we get so tunnel visioned on, like, a meet, a prep, a show, a whatever. That is always going to be there. Stage is always going to be, like, powerlifting meet, there's always going to be another one. Like, there's another one in 2 months. There's another one in a month. Like, you can always compete, but your health will not always be there. And also, too, you have to make sure that it's something that's sustainable, that you're not, like, miserable in, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to diet for this meet. Because a lot of people cut weight, like, if they do 5 meets a year, they're constantly, like, cutting weight and then regaining, and then cutting weight and regaining. And it's like, you have to take a big picture perspective and, like, balance that out, especially too, with hormones and just making sure that you're in good health. And health is more than just how you look.
I think, and people need to come to terms with maybe where you're healthy may not necessarily where you want to look, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I promise you, for most people, you're gonna look fine, and you just have to be okay with it. If you're training and you're healthy, you're gonna feel better, and then once you get if you put X amount of pounds on your total, obviously you built muscle, you know what I mean? And just not, man, it's like, I can think of so many times when even myself, the clients I used to work with years ago, where we would have a bad, like, you would screw up, and then you would think that, I could just like do cardio and fix it. It doesn't work that way, because your body can burn muscle and fat together. It doesn't just pick one. You know what I mean? So
I mean, I've lost muscle in this prep, but it's like, but at the same time, it's like, if I was yo-yo dieting in the off season, I would have been losing muscle.
So you have less muscle when you actually start your prep diet. And then you end up not looking how you want on stage.
And you have to be careful. You just have to balance those things out and make sure that you're keeping, like, I think it was Alberto who was talking about, like, keep the main goal the main goal. And so it's like, when you're in a prep for a show, obviously I'm trying to, maintain as much strength as I can, but my priority is shifting away from strength focus to physique focus. And so you just have to, like, it's like this ebb and flow, and you constantly have to be balancing these things. And some things are, it's like give and take at all these different
It's
times,
very
and it's never gonna be.
it can be complicated. I think for obviously
Yeah.
like for myself, I got it down. You know, I lost 25 pounds, and my lifts didn't really go any. There was a little bit of something where I would have up and down days, but
Right.
I'm chilling. Like I'm good. I'm good now. You know, I've been doing. I don't know if you did a similar approach, but maybe we can talk about it. Where I would do. I started with no low days. I just at the very start of the diet, I just did. Maybe I went like 10 or 2 weeks completely just you know on. I think it was 27. I'll give you guys like numbers because everybody wants to know for me, but this is top secret private information, and Katie's numbers will be hidden. Yeah. But yeah, so I think I started 28 or 2700, and I lost like a couple pounds, but most of it's just like, you know, getting to a baseline and not eating whatever. And then when I started to feel like I needed it, I would do like one refeed, and then I would get back to it. But I would always keep my fats low throughout. My fat low for me personally, and this is probably different for different people.
Right.
And then once I, you know, the more weight that I lost, I would have to refeed more. And in the past, and I'm sure, I don't know if you felt this way, are you like kind of scared of refeeds where you're like, oh, like I'm doing so good on my diet, I don't want to eat more? But now you probably are cool with it.
Well, so it's different for every single person, and different for every single prep. Actually, it's interesting. I don't like refeeds now because they make me sleepy.
Yeah.
They make me tired.
They do.
And so I was talking to Cliff about it, and I was like, they make me so tired. They make me just want to like sleep forever. And he was like, yeah. He's like, it's oh gosh, now I'm forgetting the hormone in your body. I don't know. Anyways, it's basically your body then releases this hormone that makes you sleepy. And so when you increase carbs like that. So for me, like I like refeeds because I feel full. Now I'm to the point where I'm actually at my stage weight that I was last prep. And so I'm leaner than so I'm like we're trying to get me leaner. So we're trying to get me leaner than I was last prep.
Are you digging right now? Like, do you feel like you're digging, or are you, like, is it hard?
Yeah. See, the thing is, it's hard, but like hard is relative because I know it's gonna be hard. Like I'm competing against other pros. Like
basically, I guess what I'm asking you is your body fighting you right now? Are you at the point where your body's like, hey, I don't want to lose anymore?
No, because I've been dropping weight, but it's like I'm definitely more tired for sure. Like there's days where I'm just like, oh, I'm really tired. Like I just need to call it early, But at the same time, you know, the biggest change for me, I mean, not to say that this is, an easy process at all. Like there are days when I'm really tired when I lift. Like I don't want to be at the gym. Like I'm just like, I just want to go sleep because I'm really tired and I'm low carbs and like I don't have that much energy. But the biggest thing for me has been having a different mental state. So for me, I see this as an opportunity. I don't see it as like something I have to do. No one's forcing me to prep. Like I want to do this because I love to compete. I love the sport of bodybuilding and I want to improve and I want to beat, my last physique, but also I want to beat my mindset. My last prep was not the greatest mental state that I've ever been in. I just was very up and down. And even though I was pretty even keeled for most preps, but this prep, like I've been more even keeled than I have been in my entire life. Yeah. And I think that a big component of that has just been focusing on like the big picture of life. This is a prep. It's a bodybuilding prep. And I have felt called to do it. I just have felt like things have lined up. Things have been really good. And how am I impacting other people and like showing, like demonstrating just a healthier mindset? Like you can still, you don't have to be a miserable person just because you're prepping. And I want to like help just relay that to people and show the difference between maybe my last preps and this prep because I'm focusing more on like my identity isn't found in like what I do on stage. Like I honestly, like I'm just going to do what I can do and however I end up is great. Like I just want to enjoy this experience. Whereas before I was kind of caught up in like, oh my gosh, like at nationals last year, like I need to get a certain placing, blah, 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 or else people are going to like think this. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
It's about the process, and it's about just like life. I know that sounds so weird, but it's like, what are you, like, who are you as a person? Like, you are more than just your numbers or your stage moment or your placing. It's like, who are you impacting with your journey and your story of overcoming, and your how are you encouraging others? And like, that's what I've been focusing on more, I think, this prep than I have in any other prep, and it's really been so rewarding for me. So sorry to like make that
no
long
worries.
winded.
No, I'm just gonna kind of expand on that. You said a lot of good things, especially in powerlifting. I think a lot of younger lifters, they want to stay with the crowd, and they have to get strong with everyone else, and they have to meet the standard, and they want to do this and they want to do that. When really at the end of the day, all you can do is be the best you can be as strong as you can be, and whoever, like, you never know, somebody could show up and just kill you, and maybe you're really close with someone that you've never beaten before, and they make one mistake and you win. You never know, anything can happen. But you have to really want it. And I think touching on what you said, like, if you don't enjoy the process and the actual like the days when I don't want to go to the gym, I don't even think about it. I'm gonna go to the gym. I just go to the gym. Unless I have like a physical thing that's I should probably be smart and chill out, or you're right. Like, I'm feeling low energy, and I had this crazy outside life thing that messed me up. It's, you have to be passionate about it, and I think down the road you'll realize whether or not it's something that you enjoy doing. If it's not helping your life, I always say, prepping for a show or competing in powerlifting should be something that is fun. It's fun and it's meaningful, and it's there are a lot of lessons that you learn through the adversities that you face in prep and in training that help you in life. I have so many stories about people that, when they came to me, they had no confidence, they're really weak. They didn't have not even friends, and then you make them strong, and they meet your other teammates, and then they get a good job because they're confident enough to go out and actually, one of my clients, shout out to you, Austin, when I met him, he was like, he found me on Reddit, which is weird because I don't think I've ever posted on Reddit once, but somebody was putting out something good, and he hit me up, and we started working in dude, this was like 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think I was training people in person, and he started with me in person, and then I said, you know what, dude, like, I'm moving to full online. I think I've already taught you like the basics, you could do online now. And it's been a grind for him. He's been working like random jobs here and there, but he finally got a breakthrough, and he's like, for me to see that journey, and he's like, dude, like, being a part of the team has helped me so much. I've never thought I could be a part of something like this, and you guys seeing everybody kill it helps me want to go out and kill it in real life. It's such a great thing. It's just lifting, but it's not just lifting. It's so many other things. And really quickly, as I'm going on this rant, it's really important to not get caught up. As you guys can tell, we're fucking passionate about this, all right? It's important to not get caught up on what everybody else is doing, especially in what you're doing, bodybuilding right now. It's all what the judges decide is good. So, you could go up there, as long as you killed your prep, you did everything that you could, and however you place, you're gonna be happy with it, because you're like, you know what, I gave it 100%. If I didn't do well, or if I won, what it is, exactly. And just committing to it, and keeping the goal the goal. It's such an important topic. Now, going to my little list of notes here that nobody can see. So I wanted to say, so you're working with Cliff now. People, you worked with Lane before. You worked with Lane Norton before. Are they kind of? You said Cliff is intense. Is Lane kind of intense too? Are they very similar? Are they different?
Lane was like perfect for me during that phase of my life because he's definitely not as I'd say as intense as Cliff is, or aggressive. But that was perfect for me for my first.
In terms of what? Because Lane seems like Mr. Intensity.
In terms of diet,
okay.
And getting me like lean. So, I mean, I got very lean with Lane.
Yeah, you were.
I mean,
you were really, really, really lean.
So I don't want to like compare them because honestly, like Lane was perfect for me at that point in my life. So I needed someone who was a little bit. Probably if I would have worked with Cliff at that point when I was a beginner, I would have been like, oh my gosh, like this is like, we're making changes every single week. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, whereas Lane was more like, okay, let's like take a step back. Like, let's, let's take, evaluation of what's going on. And then whereas Cliff, like, we're making changes. Like, if things aren't rolling along, like, no, we need to make changes, which I need. At this point.
Well, you're kind of also on the time limit. Kind of, yeah.
Right, and also, too, we want me to be ready early, and we want to come in shredded, like, really shredded. So I don't want to compare them at all because there's no point because that was 3 years ago. But in terms of, like, my journeys, each one was, like, Lane was great for how I was then because it was a little bit, like, I'd say less, like, snap every single week, like change. Whereas now I want that. Like I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? Because I'm competing as a pro. Like I need to change. Like let's keep me moving.
You want to look like you belong, which I'm sure you will. For physique, do you have to be really, really lean, or is it like kind of like bodybuilding, or do they want like kind of a softer? I know like bikini, you basically don't even need to be like lean. You just have to look good. It's very different. There's so many different like divisions.
Well, so it depends if you're competing in natural or in NPC. The look is the look is totally different. Honestly,
that's crazy.
My size for natural figure is probably actually closer to bikini in NPC.
That's so
which is crazy. Yeah, because some of those bikini girls are jacked. I mean, I just don't even want to compete in NPC because the look that figure has now that they're going for is just not attainable for me as a natural athlete, and also not something that I even want to look like.
Yeah.
So I only will compete in natural from now on. I tried NPC a couple times and I did well. But that was a few years ago. The standards have gotten even more insane, and I just don't. I want to promote natural bodybuilding as well. Yeah. And so for figure, it's more about the symmetry. It's not about being huge because as in a drug-tested federation where you're competing as a natural athlete, like for females, you're not going to be like the girls that you see in the IFBB who are pros. So it's not the same look that they're going for. It's more about symmetry. It's about presentation. So it's about just having a well-rounded just presentation and package that you bring to the stage, and having, being very lean but not having feathers everywhere. So it's not as lean as bodybuilding.
I don't even know if that's like naturally attainable for most girls, or it's
attainable. It's attainable. But it's
like a bitch.
Like bodybuilding takes it to another level. Yeah. It's crazy how lean they get. But then that's also where, so they have to probably get even more aggressive in terms of their diet and their cardio.
For a girl to be feathered, that's like complete hormonal shutdown to some.
Yeah.
You could probably do it, but I'm just saying like.
Yeah,
you're talking
I have
glutes.
I have feathers in my quads, but that's the only place I tend to have feathers.
You also have a lot of muscle there, so it's gonna like spread.
Right.
Out. But
right. So it's more about the symmetry, and it's about being lean but also still looking healthy. So it's kind of like a beauty pageant with muscles. Like at Worlds, we get to wear an evening gown. Like, it's really fun. Like, I'm excited, and we get to wear high heels, and so it's we get to have our makeup done, we have our hair done. Like, I'm going to get extensions. Like, it's going to be fun. Like, it's going to be a like a beauty pageant type thing.
Like it would be fun.
Which is awesome. Like I don't mean, you know, I think it's gonna be really fun. So it's more about a show for the audience too than just like call everyone in, compare really fast, and then okay, bye. Like it'll be a production. It'll really be a show, which will be fun because we've worked so hard.
And
you know,
this is
I feel
what
like
federation?
So I'm going to be competing in the WMBF that's Worlds that I was talking about. So yeah, so it'll be exciting. It'll be really exciting. I'm
looking forward to seeing the pictures. But have you dealt with any kind of injuries throughout this diet?
Just normal tweaks. Honestly, a lot less than I was when I was powerlifting. So I've had like a back injury tweak since high school that I just have to stay on top of. And then I've had a shoulder injury for like 5 years that I have to stay on top of. So just normal things like that. But overall, like I'm actually a lot less injured because my frequency has gone down and recovery is a priority. So I'm stretching a lot. I'm making sure that I'm just listening to my body and not pushing things because with powerlifting training, you know how it is. Like you have to squat, bench, and deadlift. If something hurts, you have to. And so for me, if my adductor, like for example, doesn't feel the greatest or my back doesn't, then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna nix squats today. You know, completely, and then add in leg press, and I can do that, and it'll be totally fine for progress. Yeah. Whereas for powerlifting, you are a little bit more limited in terms of the changes you can make.
And if you were to just constantly change things on a powerlifting prep, you're probably gonna have a shitty prep because your body's like, okay, well, like, what do you want me to? You want me to be strong at this, or you want me to be strong at that?
Right. Exactly.
And I think transitioning, there's a very like kind of iffy period there where transitioning from, I talked about earlier how I have that kind of variable day where like I might train lower, I might not. Yeah. That was mainly because when I'm dieting, my recovery is, there are times when going back to my diet, I'll have 4 low days and then my 3 high days. And I feel like I'm still not recovered. You know what I mean? Or there are times when I don't even need the 3rd day. I don't even need it. I'm just like, I'm good. Like I'm recovered. I'm ready to go. So it's very being able to monitor those things, and you know, shout out to Cliff for keeping tabs on you and seeing like, okay, we need to tweak this. We need to, you know, take it easy on this thing.
Yeah, Jake who writes my programming, like sometimes I message him, I'm like, my back is a little like tight, and he's like, just
don't even risk it. Yep.
He's like, just drop it. He's like, drop the weight by whatever. He's like, just do some easy triples and like just get the volume in. Like, don't even push it.
I say that literally all the time. Like you have to take what you can, and those days when you go in and you're like, oh shit, I'm off today, dude. I did 315 for sets of freaking 6 on high bar. You could do that. Like yesterday. But I have a larger goal. I have big squats coming up, and I have to make sure you don't overdo it or screw anything up.
It's so funny. Like it was last week actually. I've lost some body fat this past week. My weight's been like sticking a little bit around 142, but like I just feel leaner. But like last week I went into the gym and like squats were just off. I was like, this just feels awful. So you know what I did? I just dropped the weight and I did some like sets of 5, like at a low weight, and then I dropped it to even like 225 and did like some sets of 10. And then yesterday I went in and I was like, well, I'm gonna try to do 275. I hit like sets of 8 easily with 275, and I was just like, and it was just popping, and it just felt good. And I was like, well, you know, that's just how it is with cutting too, especially when you get to a low body fat percentage. Like things are more variable for sure.
And it's, if you screw that up and you end up getting hurt, now you're dieting and you're not training. So guess what your body's going to use to fuel itself? You're going to lose that tissue that is like gold.
Right. You just want to stay healthy as much as you can and just make recovery a priority. And you know, and if you have a little tweak, just back it off and do some like blood flow restriction work or whatever you can, and make some adjustments, and you know, continue to move on and just like do what you can. You don't need to squat like 3 times per week. Like, you can reduce it, and yeah, so that it varies more, especially when you're in a deficit. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Totally agree. I was gonna ask you about your food relationship and how you kind of overcame that, but quickly, as you're dieting, your mentality when you know that your strength is taking a hit, did you take it okay? Did you say, okay, I know I'm gonna lose strength, I'm dieting, the scale's going down, or were you kind of like at a conflict where you're like, man, like I worked so hard to get these gains and now, I'm losing it?
Yeah, it honestly has not affected me at all.
That's
Like,
so good. Yeah.
So I've lost about 20 pounds, and my squat is obviously down, but I can still rep out 315. So to be honest, like, my Wilks is probably up. Like,
that's really, it's honestly, not letting it affect you is absolutely what it needs to be. I told myself, I have 6 months between Arnold and Nationals, and whatever strength loss comes with it, I'll do my best to hold on. But if you, in the past, and you guys can learn from my mistake, I used to like start dieting, and then I would see that my strength was taking a hit, and then I would be like, oh, I got to bring my calories back up. But then you don't really get anywhere. But just doing it this way, and also with the non-linear dieting, that's helped me a ton. I never thought I could lose 25 pounds, and my squats have gotten better. But again, you lost a lot of body fat, and you probably did maintain a lot of your muscle mass. But the extra like squish is not there. So like in your knees and in your hips. So it feels
and leverages
harder.
are totally different. It's not like on block pulls. I'm actually just as strong.
Yeah.
Almost
usually
like
good.
That I was when I was like 20 pounds heavier. Like, and leg press, my strength has gone up. Like, so to answer your question, no, it doesn't. I don't care.
That's really good. And I think whenever you, I had a guy just hit me up recently. He's like 220 and he wants to get down to 183. And I told him like, that's a long, that's not an overnight thing. That's not a December thing. That's a March, April type thing. So.
Oh, that's a long journey. Yeah. But you just have to take it one step at a time and take all those things into consideration. And also not be so attached to your number. Yeah. Like, your squat PR, when you're, super fluffy, is, okay, well, you're lean now. Like, your Wilks is probably up, even though your squat PR is down a little bit. Like, it's not, you have to, like, take everything into consideration and not not attach yourself to a specific number.
Alrighty, guys. Sorry about that quick little transition. Gonna wrap it up soon here. So Katie, can you just briefly touch on like kind of your relationship with food and how you went from whatever eating disorder you dealt with to where you're at now, which is obviously a very much healthier place, both physically and mentally.
Well, there were definitely transition periods, and it's a long journey. And so I think a lot of times individuals, come to me or ask me questions about what was the one thing that allowed you to like overcome your, because I dealt with being underweight in high school and also dealt with binging. So really either turning to restrictions of food for some sort of like satisfaction, internally control, and then also turning to food for emotional support or like just comfort. So really at the root of eating disorders is some sort of unhappiness, and it's really hard to overcome. It's just like any sort of addiction that exists in the world. I would recommend going to a counselor or talking to someone that you trust, but it starts in the mind. It is really a spiritual battle, and for me it was just the battle of feeling like not enough and like not worthy, and then I was like out my unhappiness on, well, it's food, it was like control with either under eating or then, binging and having this struggle. And so so for me, I'd say like the long-term perspective, like I have gone through so many different struggles, but the message that I really want to get across to people who may be struggling with the same thing is that you can overcome. You just have to be very diligent about it, and you have to start with the mind. It's not a diet you're going to follow. It's not a workout plan you're going to follow that's finally going to cure you. It is really a change in mindset, and it's not looking to that food or to that fix for some sort of, you're trying to numb your mind, because when you're binging, you're really just trying to like numb yourself from feeling whatever it is, and you have to figure out like what's the root of that. And I can't say specifically, because every single person is different, and every single person, it'll be a different root of that. And a lot of times it's insecurity, a lot of times it's feeling unloved, or it's feeling alone. And you have to get to the bottom of that. And so I can't say it's like one thing, because it's different for every single person. Just like, why does someone turn to alcohol? Well, it's different for every single alcoholic. Or why does someone turn to, substance abuse, or turn to whatever it may be? And so you really have to get to the root of the issue and realize that it's like a spiritual and mental battle, and not so much, it's not about the food, it's about finding that root of it. But to be a word of encouragement for people, it's been years of this journey, but you can get to the other side, and remember that like your struggles are what can enable you to help other people. Like if I wouldn't have struggled with my eating, with my training, with my, all this stuff, yeah, I would never have the empathy that I have for my clients, and also the perspective and like the ability to really just like support them through this and understand, and maybe be that word of encouragement or be that support system that they need while they get through this, a specific period of their journey. And you can come to the other side, and you can be an inspiration for others. So anyone no matter what you're battling, if you're battling some sort of an addiction or some sort of a, just like a hardship in your life, like those hardships are what give you the ability to help others in the future and make an impact. So like, don't lose sight of that.
Boom. That was a good answer. So I hope you guys appreciate that. Alrighty. So we're at the, coming up on the end here. I have a couple questions from my team, my boys, my people, and just gonna go down the line really quickly before we wrap it up. So Chris Lloyd asks if you like memes and if you've seen any of his. If you've seen any of the ones that I've posted, it's him.
Yes, I love memes.
Yes.
And my favorite memes are the Joey Flexx memes.
Yes.
So.
Yes. The best memes. There you go, Chris.
I was on one too one time.
Oh, I think you were too.
And it was like my favorite thing ever.
Yes,
so yeah.
There you go, Chris. Nice. Okay, so Brian Espinoza asks, where do you get your ideas for your insanely detailed recipe for macro-friendly desserts?
So, as weird as this may sound, I literally just, like, as I go, I'm the type of baker, I hate using a recipe. So, I just, like, think about what ingredients would go well together, like, from different recipes that I've used in the past. And I'm just like, all right, what do I need to do to make the texture, like, good, the consistency, and macro-friendly in terms of, like, do I want more protein? So I'll add protein powder. If I don't want protein and I want it to be a carb source, I won't. Like, so I just do it on the whim. So
Yep. It's instincts. Natural. Just whatever it comes.
So I'm basically
go with your gut.
I'm meant to be just like a housewife.
Boom. There you go.
Just kidding. Not.
No, you're definitely capable of more. Not that there's anything against that. I actually have mad respect for ladies that stay home, take care of the house, take care of the kids.
Yes.
We respect women here on the Joy
Flexx.
Hey,
if I ever have kids, I'm probably not going to work. Boom. Or I'm going to work very part-time because my mom did that, and so I have a lot of respect for that. So.
Boom, there you go. My mom did the same thing.
If I have the ability to.
Yep.
So.
course. Zachary Nelson asks if you remember him at your first Florida meet at FAU.
Yes.
Yes, she does. John Hack asks if you remember him.
John who?
Oh! There you have it. There you have it. All right.
That name just, I don't know. I mean, is he
I got a question.
Like
He's
he a lifter or I don't know.
He lifts sometimes. So next question. Daniel Yin asks, is Joe Sullivan really a meatball in real life?
He's like more than a meatball. He's like a casserole.
Oh my god. Joe Casserole.
He's like a meatloaf.
Okay, so he's more than a meatball. He is the entire meatloaf. There you have it, Daniel.
Joe is like the best person ever. So if you ever get a chance to meet him, like you'll definitely have a good conversation with Joe for sure. So
there you go. I saw him at the US Open. He's a nice guy.
Oh, he's so nice.
Yeah. Good dude. Trains
Love
hard.
Joe.
All right, last one here. I think we already covered it. How does she maintain strength while dieting to a show? It's a lot of. I could let you expand on it. We already hit it up. That's
we went too.
Yeah, Rob Escalante. Thank you for your question, but scroll back. Already.
Well, yeah, but don't be like a wuss during your deficit. Like that's a huge thing because a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm gonna be tired. It's like, well, if you say you're gonna be tired and you're like already thinking you're gonna be miserable, it's a self fulfilling prophecy essentially.
Really, to leave you guys on that point. I think that's like that in powerlifting and in anything. If you go into a meet and you're like, oh, I didn't sleep, I was I had to travel, I had this and this and this and this, right. Then you lose. You already lost. Like, why even compete? Like you're already beating yourself. So it's gonna be easy for somebody else to come in and take your cookies. Anyway,
don't let them take your cookies.
Don't let them take your cookies. Alrighty, guys. At the end of every episode, we do like a hashtag in the comments, like for people. So we could think of a new one, or I was just gonna say hashtag don't let them take your cookie. Hashtag protect the cookies.
Okay, and bonus points.
Bonus points.
Should we do it?
Bonus points. What's bonus points?
What did we say? Hashtag meatloaf.
Hashtag meatloaf. Hashtag protect the cookies or hashtag meatloaf.
So meatloaf is actually one of my favorite foods ever too.
Boom. And you can kind of make the macros for it, right? Because you make it yourself.
Oh, meatloaf is so good. And mashed potatoes. Oh.
Meatloaf and mashed potatoes.
My mom used to make that growing up, like meatloaf all the time. So it has a special place in my heart. So meatloaf.
Speaking of hearts, everybody, thank you guys for sticking around this far. Go ahead and drop those hashtags in the bottom. If you made it this far, you guys are all near and dear to my heart. Other than that, Katie, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. It was really nice to see you and catch up. But I know that you just came from training. You got to go eat.
I got to go get some macros.
Got to go get those macros in. So, see you later, guys.
This was so good. All right, hearts, love the whole Joey Flex team.
Boom. So, Flex
all
boys.
y'all.
There you go.
No, I wish I could be at nationals so I could like hang out with you guys. Yeah. But also, if you ever do like a Flex like get together,
you're there.
I need to plan to be there. Yes, because I am like a member. I am a member.
You're an extended member of the family for sure. For sure. She's my blood. Okay.
Yes.
If anybody gives you shit. Anyway. Guys.
If everyone gives you shit too, like I'm the first to be like.
She's in there. I'll be like, look at them quads.
They'll just be scared.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you. Peace.
Alright. Bye, Joey. Bye.